Greetings, I'm Demonac, and thanks to all of you, I just hit 1,000 YouTube subscribers. I would do something special, but I'm pretty sure what all of you want most from me is actually just more episodes of TDDC, and I need to just work faster on these videos. I have no idea what's slowing me down at this point, except possibly that I'm not multitasking as well as I like to think I do while watching YouTube and Netflix and stuff. I can't even claim I was waiting for some dialogue Orestria recorded for me, since I got her file almost exactly when I reached that point in making the video. On the plus side, I am excited about a lot of the things that are coming for TDDC. You guys have no idea what is coming, though you're welcome to try and guess in the comments. Please ignore these misleading spoilers. So, last video, I rambled on about how I like science fiction which is serious about continuity, and which at least makes a serious effort to deal with the implications of the technology they've established in their setting. I mentioned that I both enjoy and admire David Weber's Honor Harrington series for this and other reasons, but let's take it one further as a thought experiment. How might Star Trek, mainly The Next Generation, be different if someone like David Weber had been one of their writers? That such an individual was specifically in charge of technological consistency, editing some episodes, co-writing a few, stuff like that. Obviously, this is purely speculative, with me projecting my views through this prism, but what might it be like? Let's start with that one episode where Officer Barclay, the guy who worked to overcome social anxiety, runs into a piece of alien technology which makes him become super intelligent over the course of the episode. He goes back to normal in the end, it's hand-waved of course, but at some point the Enterprise is under attack. Its shields aren't holding. I think it was an anomaly, but whatever. Barclay, partway through his transformation, grabs a panel in engineering and starts inputting commands very quickly, and whatever he does triples their shield strength, allowing them to get through. Tripled their shields! Now see, you can hand-wave Barclay going back to normal. That's one thing. Omnipotent power in, omnipotent power out. It's the triple shields that drives me nuts. You don't think Geordi and Data would be all over that, now that they know it's possible? But okay, it took super intelligence to do that. Maybe exponential intelligence Barclay can do things that even Geordi and freaking Data can't understand. Maybe it's so complicated that they cannot reverse engineer it. Fine. But he did it on a computer panel. On the Enterprise. They should be able to go back and replay every keystroke. Just make it a macro, such that even if they don't understand what he did, even if it has huge drawbacks like major energy drain, they can still use it again in the future. You know how often it would help to have triple shield strength, even temporarily? Another one. Cloaking devices are a huge deal in Star Trek. Over the course of TNG, a partial solution arises in that they learn that tachyon particles are a telltale sign of the possible presence of a cloaked vessel. For example, in a first episode of Season 5, a Federation fleet establishes a net based on projecting streams of tachyons in order to blockade an area for a short but critical time period. We'll try not to focus on the details they give about that maneuver, like the fact that knocking out Data's ship would only open a 10 million mile radius gap, which means the fleet would have to be so close together that it would take 450 vessels to blockade a one-dimensional line from Earth to Neptune's orbit, a line which a warp-capable vessel could bypass in seconds. Seriously, to create an actual blockade and buy Gowron's forces a day or so, each ship would have to be covering a radius of multiple light years, but we're ignoring that. My point is, whenever they believe a cloaked vessel is in the area, somebody always suggests they do some tachyon thing with the scanners. Then they make some adjustments and start looking. But if the tachyon thing is common knowledge amongst Federation engineers by the end of TNG, why don't they run a tachyon scanning pattern all the time so they get some advanced warning of cloaked ships in the area? Now, if we were doing this Weber style, they wouldn't just forget about these advancements and move on. These things are established. They exist in universe now. So, in my hypothetical, the episode following the superintelligence thing, Geordi and Data would discuss it with Barclay. The latter no longer remembers anything about it, but it's a natural way for them to exposit the virtues of the shield tripling ability and discuss any drawbacks, say a massive spike in power consumption that can't be sustained. The episode after that, They get in a rough combat situation and have the ship's computer replicate the effect. Riker half-jokingly christens it the Barclay maneuver. Now, it's tested and proven, so Starfleet moves into action, disseminating the concept throughout the entire fleet, and soon other powers in the galaxy take notice. This affects the diplomatic balance of the quadrant, and everyone races to reproduce, steal, or replicate the tech, while the Federation strives to remove the drawbacks of the technology. At first, it's purely an emergency move. But then they devise computer tie-ins, which automatically activate a brief surge of Barclay defense in response to each enemy attack, while maybe the Klingons or their Cardassians try to incorporate the effect into their shields full-time through brute force, by building ships with triple parallel power cores. Meanwhile, every fleet should be building in the capacity to perform frequent, if not continuous, tachyon sweeps of their surroundings. At first, it won't help pinpoint or target cloaked vessels, but at least they would know whether or not a cloaked ship is nearby, and that will change the tactics of both sides, creating an electronic warfare race where the Klingons and Romulans try to devise better cloaking, and everyone tries to get better tachyon detection systems to penetrate these cloaking devices. And these are just two advances. That's not counting the hundreds of times they defeated enemies who had special technological powers, and then they make no attempt to reverse engineer them after the fact. All this stuff does not replace the human element of stories, or the sociological explorations that form the plots of many individual Star Trek episodes. But even if the series avoids long-running war plots overall, this approach would help create an additional layer in the background that can both add verisimilitude and give writers another tool to weave the series together. And of course, that was exactly what shitty network executives wanted to avoid for TNG, and what they hated about DS9, because even the slightest running storyline makes the episodes less ideal for playing out of order in syndication and other outdated anti-quality ideas. I'm glad that newer media is much more embracing of long-term story arcs and continuity as a way to draw in loyal viewers. Anyway, I need to get back to work and finish the next damned episode.